Is your teen daughter always saying yes, going along with the crowd, or worrying too much about what others think? And she may be slipping into people pleaser mode. Ooh. In this episode, I'm sharing 4 practical ways that you, mama, can help her recognize when she's living for approval instead of staying true to herself. Here we go, hang tight. If you are frustrated with how to get your teenage daughter to open up to you because all you want is to connect with her as you once did, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Jeannie Baldomero, a former rebellious teen, now mom of 3 young adults, educator, and the mom mentor, equipping you to create open communication with your girl so she can come to you about anything, even if she's scared. So grab your oat milk latte, breathe, and let's do this together. Hey mom, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, or maybe if you're brand new, welcome. But I wanted to invite you to something more. Not just listening to these episodes, although I do appreciate you gathering this information from this podcast, but I want you to get involved. Did you know that I have a free community? I've found working with moms, they've said the most that has helped them is being in a community with like-minded moms who are in the weeds, raising their teenage daughter as well. We need each other. We're meant to be in community. We're meant to support, encourage, laugh, cry with one another. So here's my invitation to you. Come join my free mom community full of moms raising tween and teenagers just like you. Head on over to raisingherconfidently.com where you'll find an option to come and join my free mom community and other goodies on there that will help you along the way of raising your teen daughter. That's raisingherconfidently.com. I'm so glad you're here today because we're talking about something I see often in lots of teen girls, people pleasing. And I know that wasn't a term that we used growing up, but it's definitely a term that is used now, being a people pleaser, and it's something I heard as an adult. Maybe you've noticed your daughter saying yes to things she doesn't really want to do, or maybe changing who she is depending on who she's with, or getting really anxious about what her friends think of her. Well, that's people pleasing. And while it might look harmless on the surface, it can actually chip away at your daughter's sense of identity during these critical years when she's figuring out who she is and might not even identify the impact and the implications if we continue to allow her to people please her way through life as an adult. That's something I discovered myself, mama. As an adult, I was a people pleaser. And all these struggles that I've had was geared around other people's opinions about me and about what I should do. So when a teen girl learns to put everyone else's opinions above her own, she runs the risk of losing touch of her own values, her voice, and her confidence. And that's why today, mama, I want to break this down to you. First, why your daughter might be drawn to people pleasing. And second, 4 ways you can help her recognize it in herself when she does and begin to make healthier choices. Here we go. First of all, what is people pleasing? Well, at the core, people pleasing is when someone, like your daughter, prioritizes others' needs, wants, or opinions over their own. Often really at the cost of their own happiness and authenticity. Now, okay, granted, teenagers are unhappy very easily, but we're talking about deep happiness in her own identity, right? For your teen daughter, this might mean agreeing with a friend just to avoid a conflict, or saying yes to social plans even when she's exhausted or doesn't even want to go, or going along with something that doesn't sit right with her just so she feels accepted. Does that sound familiar to you? I know I've gone through a lot of that myself. Let me give you a quick example. Imagine your daughter has had a long week, right? She's drained, and what she really wants is a quiet Friday night at home. But then her friend texts and say, we're all going to the movies. You're coming, right? Well, instead of saying no, she pushes aside how she feels, how exhausted her body is telling her, and goes anyway. She laughs along, but inside she's feeling resentful and worn out, and all she wants to do is sleep. That's people-pleasing in action, ignoring her own needs just to keep others happy. I myself did not recognize this trait in me. I people-please my way through life, having found myself in a space where I was addicted to intensity because I thought I could handle all the things. I couldn't say no for the fear of disappointing others, including my own family. Yes, mamas, we have a heart to do it all because, frankly, we could do it all, but at the cost of our own willingness to say no, our own priority in health. That's people pleasing. So I'm going to give you 4 reasons why your daughter might be people pleasing now. Number 1, she's still figuring out who she is. Okay, so if she's trying to figure out who she is, she's open to other ideologies. Emotionally and cognitively, the teen years are a season of identity formation. Your daughter is asking herself, who am I? Where do I fit in? Because she doesn't fully know yet. It's natural that she'll look to other people to give her a sense of direction. And valuing their opinion helps her test and experiment with who she might become, okay? Second reason why she might be people-pleasing is the fear of judgment. No one likes to feel rejected or judged, including me, including you, mama. But for teens, the fear of being embarrassed or not being accepted by their friends and peers can literally be overwhelming to them, right? You know how your teen can sit there and over-exaggerate some things when it could be really small? This is what I'm talking about. Their heightened hormones allows them to feel the feels in an intense way. So sometimes it feels safer for her to go along with what others expect than to risk standing out in that way, okay? Third reason why your daughter might be people-pleasing is that she lacks boundaries. Okay, boundaries wasn't even a word back then. I read this book called Boundaries and I can't remember his author, but it's a great book on creating personal boundaries for yourself and why it's okay. I grew up in a family where there were no boundaries, and having boundaries would be considered rude and disrespectful, right? So maybe she's lacking boundaries, and boundaries really don't come naturally. They have to be taught and they have to be learned. If your daughter hasn't been taught that it's not okay to say no, or that she doesn't have to give everyone access to her time, energy, that it's okay to say no. Sorry, I think I messed up right there. That it's okay to say no, that she doesn't have to give everyone access to her time, energy, or emotions, then she'll lean towards pleasing others simply because she doesn't know she's allowed to hold her own ground, right? She's allowed to say no. And the fourth reason why she might be people-pleasing is she wants to matter. At the heart of it, every teen girl longs to feel significant, to be valued, and to belong. And sometimes people-pleasing becomes a way of earning that sense of worth. It's a false sense of worth, but it is a sense of worth any way she can receive it. So if she thinks, if I keep everyone happy, then I'll be loved and accepted. And she may fall into the trap of neglecting herself to hold on to relationships. Okay, so those are the reasons why. And you're probably thinking, man, this is making me really anxious. And I can relate to a lot of these reasons. So what can we do from here? Well, I'm going to give you 4 tips to help your daughter recognize the people-pleasing so that she can equip herself and you can help guide her, right? We talk in my Talk to Your Teen Girl framework about open conversations. But first is really recognizing that, right? Recognizing the issues and being able to come together so you can guide her. So, mama, how can you step in a loving, guiding way to help her? Well, here are the 4 practical tips to help her begin that noticing when she's making decisions for others instead of herself. Okay, the first is help her check in with her feelings. So I want you to encourage your daughter to pause and ask, do I actually want this? Before saying yes. If she feels tense, anxious or resentful, then that's a clue she's people-pleasing rather than acting in alignment with what she really wants, right? This gut sucker punch. Like, I have this feeling that I shouldn't be doing that. 2, normalize healthy boundaries. Gosh, this is such a great opportunity to both model and talk about saying no, having those boundaries set up. I want you to talk openly about the power of saying no. Not as rejection, but as self-respect. I want you to model it in your own life, saying no, and reassure her that saying no doesn't make her selfish, but it makes her honest with others and honest with herself. Another way is to remind her of her core values. Help her identify what she values most. Could be kindness, honesty, creativity, faith, family, whatever it may be. When she recognizes her values and she understands them so clearly, she can use them as a compass to discern. Am I doing this because I believe in it or because I want someone else's approval? I'll say that again. Am I doing this because I believe in it or because I want someone else's approval? And then affirm her worth apart from others. Speak life into your daughter. Tell her often that she matters, that she's valuable and she's loved, not because of what she does for others, but simply because who she is. Who she is. She doesn't need to do anything to prove herself. When she feels secure in her worth at home, she'll have more courage to stand firm in herself out in the world. She'll be able to say no more often. She'll be able to question whether or not this, crosses her boundaries. And she can ask herself, do I really want this for myself? Okay, mama, I want you to remember, people-pleasing isn't something to shame your daughter for. Not at all. It's a signal. It's a sign that she's craving belonging, clarity, and or confidence. And you have such an important role in helping her recognize the difference between living for others' approval and living from her own values. So the teen years are really all about discovering who she is. And your guidance, mama, can help her grow into a young woman who knows her worth, that honors her own voice, and really chooses authenticity over approval. You got this, mama, and I have confidence you can walk your daughter along through this as well. Don't forget, we have our free mom community just for you. I want you to pop in there. You can even be a fly on the wall if you want, or be active. If you're like me, I like to engage. So head on over to raisingherconfidently.com. That's raisingherconfidently.com, and I'll see you in there. Hey friend, if this podcast inspired you or encouraged you or helped you in any way, I'd love for you to share it. You can screenshot this episode and share it in your stories on social media or text it to a friend who can use the support. It's the best way you can thank me. I want to let other mamas know they are not alone. I'd love to stay connected with you. You can find me at raisingherconfidently.com. Until next time, live full of grace, Jeannie.